Okay, let's jump in. Remember 2021 in the Indian startup scene? It felt like just pure excitement, right?
Oh, absolutely. Money seemed to be flowing everywhere.
Yeah, unicorns popping up, weekly. And VCs were making these huge bets, often just based on, instinct and a big idea.
It really was a boom time. But what became so clear as we went through the material for this deep dive is how different things feel now in 2025.
Totally different. There's this real sense of caution.
Exactly. A palpable caution across the whole ecosystem. And the big question that this material sort of circles around is this caution like a necessary safety measure?
Or has something else been lost?
Yeah.
Like that essential curiosity, maybe? The willingness to take a big risk?
Precisely. Has that initial spark faded a bit?
So why the big swing?
Yeah.
What caused this shift? The sources we looked at pointed to a few key things.
Yeah, multiple factors converging. You've got the global stuff like rising interest rates, capital just got more expensive everywhere.
Right. And then there are the LPs, the folks investing in the VC funds. They're getting much more demanding, apparently.
They want to see returns, clearer paths to profitability much sooner.
And well, let's be honest, there were some bumps in the road. High-profile issues, the material called them burn wounds.
Things like Byju's or Zilingo, yeah. Those definitely created some, let's say, apprehension among investors, understandably so.
So you put all that together.
And the practical effect. VCs are now intensely focused on the numbers, on metrics.
Traction is huge now. They need to see proof.
Proof of traction, solid unit economics, like is each customer actually profitable, and revenue. Real existing revenue.
Even for early stages.
Shockingly so sometimes. Due diligence, which, might have taken a few days back in the peak.
Now it drags on for months sometimes.
Months, exactly. We even saw mentions of seed stage founders, people who usually get funded on just a vision being told, come back when you're profitable.
Wow. Okay, so if everyone's being super cautious, what's the downside? What's the cost of all this safety?
Well, that's a major point in the material. It makes things really, really hard for founders working on those big, ambitious, long-term plays.
Like deep tech.
Yeah.
Or advanced AI.
Exactly. Deep tech, foundational AI, climate innovation. These are areas that need time. They need patient capital.
Right. You can't expect huge profits in 18 months from, say, developing a breakthrough battery technology.
Not at all. But the potential impact is massive. And the risk now is that these potentially game-changing ideas might just wither on the vine lack of funding.
So are we accidentally filtering out the next big breakthroughs by playing it too safe?
That's the concern, isn't it?
Well,
but here's where it gets interesting. The material highlighted that while traditional VCs might be pulling back a bit,
new players are stepping in.
Yes, a whole different set of investors. We saw mentions of family offices becoming more active.
Okay, and second-time founders investing, right? As angels.
Yeah, founders turn angels, angel syndicates pooling money, and even creators, people like Ranveer Alabadia, Bhuvan Bam, getting into early-stage investing.
Huh, that's fascinating. What's different about them?
Often they're faster, more gut-driven maybe. They seem more willing to bet on the founder's vision, their grit.
Less hung up on immediate metrics, perhaps.
Sometimes, yeah. They seem willing to take those early risks that, frankly, fueled the whole initial startup boom years ago.
So it sounds like the ecosystem needs a bit of both then. The caution and the curiosity.
That's the core message we took away. A balance. Caution is understandable, maybe even healthy after the frenzy, but you need that curiosity.
We still have to fund the big swings, the ideas solving deep problems, even if the spreadsheet doesn't look perfect on day one.
Exactly. Which leads to thinking about maybe different ways to fund things. The material touched on alternative models.
Like what?
Things like revenue-based financing, where repayments are tied to income, or crowdfunding. Even more structured public-private grants for certain types of innovation.
Interesting. So exploring options beyond just the standard VC route, especially when that route tightens up.
It might be necessary to keep that pipeline of ambitious ideas flowing.
Okay, so wrapping this up, it leaves you, the listener, with a pretty big question to think about, right?
Definitely. As you watch, what happens next?
Is the Indian startup world still making room for pure imagination and long-term impact? Or is it all becoming about the immediate numbers game? Something to keep an eye on.